Thursday, January 29th, 2026. Jason plays hero. Carly gets good news. Nathan lets his guard down. Molly shares her news with Cody. And a duo shares a first kiss. Read the last GH recap. Trina unleashed anger on Portia. Joss came across Cullum at Windermere as everyone took shelter during the storm. Molly and Cody stop having sex at his place so she can check her phone. Looking out the door, he announces they are snowed in. She can't find her phone, so checks her laptop and gasps. He asks what happened. Reluctantly, she admits she wrote a Western romance novel. Cody likes the sound of that. She says her other books were just romance novels. He asks about the story. She admits she only wrote it for herself, but Christina went behind her back and submitted it to her literary agent, and she loved it. This could lead to a multi-book deal, but she doesn't want to go ahead with that. She already has a job. Writing is just a hobby. Cody can't wait to read it anyway. She just wants to get back into bed, so he picks her up and carries her off. After sex, he sneaks down to the kitchen. The dog has spilled her purse. As he picks it up, Cody finds her manuscript and starts reading it. At Drew's, Tracy hands Martin's bourbon and Scout's thermos. He demands the decanter. They argue over it. They bicker about her family, and he says she's toxic. She wonders why he hates her so much. He reminds her that she ruined his life by destroying his relationship with Lucy. That makes her cackle. Tracy says Lucy's only meaningful relationship was with a duck. Martin says Lucy was the best thing that ever happened to him. Tracy thinks he should thanking her. She mocks his taste in women. He claims he loves independent women, and she points out that they all bled him dry. He reminds her he would still have money if she didn't throw him to his exes. She talks about how she had true love with Luke. He was a scoundrel, but they realized what they had was worth more than money. He reminds her that Laura was the love of Luke's life. She says that had nothing to do with what they had. They had to have complicated pasts to have what they did. Martin accuses her of taking losing Luke out on the world. She says he's an easy mark. He says that, of the pair of them, he's the one willing to put his heart on the line. Charlotte and Danny sneak into the gatehouse and he turns the heat on. She admits coming there was the smart move. She notices she has 1 million texts from her mom, so texts back to say she's safe. He offers to make her s'mores and urges her to embrace the mess. They talk about their adventures at Lila's Kids and the importance of taking chances. When they eat s'mores, he gets chocolate on his lips. She wipes it away and they kiss. At the cafe, Nathan and Lulu check the generator and wonder where Charlotte is. He's sure she has good survival instincts. She gets a text from Charlotte and is relieved she's fine. The cop suggests they shelter there. Lulu decides to look for blankets and finds a heap on napkins and a bottle of booze. She suggests a drinking game. He impresses her by reciting the periodic table. He admits his dad made him recite it every day. Lulu, though, his dad ignored him. Nathan says his father threw him into chemistry to be useful, but it became clear he was no good at it. Lulu says his dad was an idiot if he couldn't see how wonderful he is. He wants to be the man she sees him as. They kiss. At Carly's, she argues with Valentin as he tries to leave. He won't be able to live with himself if his daughter is freezing outside. When he returns, Carly tells him his daughter is safe and gets him to warm up by the fire. She explains that Lulu texted to say Charlotte was fine. Valentin tells her she was right to tell him not to go out. Noting she had her boots and coat on, he asks if she was coming after him. Why would she risk her life for him? She says she knows what it's like to lose a child and knows she couldn't wait to search for her child either. Seeing how devoted he is to his daughter has changed the way she thinks of him. He's not what she thought he was. He feels the same about her. Jason carries Britt into some cabin on an island near Spoon Island. She shivers as he takes off her wet clothes and covers her in blankets. She tells him she thought she would die when she fell in the water. He brings her closer to the fire and rubs her. Once she's warm, he asks if she's really okay. He knows she doesn't trust him, but he really wants to help her. Britt says he needs to know the truth. She's been lying to him all along. He says he will get her out of this. She trusts him and admits she's being forced to finish her father's final project. You have to tell me who they are, he says. General Hospital spoilers hint that Jocelyn Jack's anonymous tip may alert Emma Scorpio Drake after a sighting at Windermere. Will Jocelyn find herself in a tight spot and still try to get the word out that Anna's in trouble? Jack Brennan tried to shut down Jocelyn Jack's idea of a catacombs exploration during the snowstorm. Although Jocelyn assumes everyone will be on the mainland to avoid a power outage, Brennan still pumped the brakes. Of course, that may not stop Jocelyn from trying to do some digging anyway. Gage's preview video for the week of January 26th to 30th shows Jocelyn gazing through a pair of binoculars like she's looking over at Windermere. However, the promo also appears to show a pair of male shoes entering the room Anna is being held in. Anna may be removed from that room and prepared for transport once the blizzard clears up. If Jocelyn was in a position to rescue Anna, you can bet she would. Unfortunately, it may not be that simple if Jocelyn simply spies Anna being dragged out from afar. That brings us to some 2026 preview spoilers that still haven't aired yet. In an interview with TV Insider, GH co-head writers Elizabeth Court and Chris Van Etten offered up some interesting clues. Emma races to the rescue with Max Scorpio, John J. York, and Felicia Paralinguistic Jones, Christina Wagner Paralinguistic when Anna is sighted. What happens next will prove traumatic for the Scorpios, Van Etten and Court teased. It's interesting that the word sighted was used when we've got Jocelyn and a pair of binoculars coming up. Will Jocelyn be the one who spots Anna? And if that's the case, what will she do next? Jocelyn is supposed to be a sleeper agent right now, so she may not want to risk drawing any attention to herself. Brennan puts the mission above all else, so Jocelyn might be wary of spilling to him or anyone else at the WSB who wouldn't prioritize Anna's safety. That's especially true now that Jocelyn has eavesdropped on Brennan's conversation with shady director Ross Cullum. Perhaps Jocelyn could give Emma another anonymous message, just like Joss did when she delivered Professor Henry Hank Dalton's second lab address. Then again, maybe Jocelyn could give the cops an anonymous tip instead. Of course, Anna may be long gone before Emma, Mac, and Felicia can pull off any kind of rescue. Nevertheless, it could put Jen Sidwell on their radar as a kidnapper suspect and perhaps offer a trail to follow, even if the results are traumatic as the spoilers predict. General Hospital spoilers say some jaw-dropping Anna news is still to come, so stay tuned for updates on all the shockers. General Hospital's Anna has been held against her will for a very long time. Recently, her captors took to torturing her with memories from her past. Will it ever end? No one in Port Charles seems the least bit concerned that Anna hasn't been seen or heard from in months. Emma and Gio are finally beginning to worry, but they will need help to locate her. So far, they have had none. Meanwhile, Anna is being held in the tunnels below Windermere by Sidwell, Cullum, and the rest of the team working on Faison's final project, whatever that is. That was bad enough, but now they decided to torture their prisoner. It is doubtful that Faison is alive. GH is known for bringing people back from the dead, but the guy's brain is in a jar. Anna has been drugged, and the bad guys are somehow sending Faison's voice through a speaker to drive Anna crazy. The man was obsessed with her for years, and she had always feared him. She also believed she was talking to a very exaggerated version of Peter, who was Faison's dead son and Anna's nephew. Now that the power is out at Windermere, a look-alike Faison has entered Anna's room. Anna is a WSB agent and a Port Charles hero, having saved residents on multiple occasions. Fans have had enough of seeing her tortured and no longer want to hear about Faison. They are also tired of the whole storyline and would like to see it wrapped up. "The whole story is ridiculous," exclaimed a Facebook user. One viewer is tired of Faison. "This face and crap is just that, crap." Another agreed and added, "She deserves better. I wish Valentin would find her," while someone else said, "I am tired of it. He's dead. End it." After ignoring Jack's orders to stay away from Windermere, Jocelyn decided to go back a second time on General Hospital. Using C4 explosives that seemed to be WSB standard issue to its agents, Joss blew the power grid, sending Spoon Island into darkness. She crept over there, expecting to search for the secret lab in quiet, but encountered Cullum. She fed him a phony story about being a flaky college student and visiting her Uncle Lucas, but the tension in the room said he wasn't buying her story. Cullum didn't chase Joss through corridors or corner her with threats. He lit candles and asked questions. He didn't seem to be listening to her so much as observing her answers, letting her do most of the talking. It was clear that Joss was adjusting her story's details as she went, in an attempt to sound harmless enough to be believed. She remained calm under pressure, knowing full well that he wasn't the groundskeeper he claimed to be, but Jack's boss at the bureau. Danger could be felt in the dimly lit room in how long Cullum let her talk, in how often his eyes lingered when she mentioned Lucas, school, and the storm, as if he were filing each word away for later rather than deciding anything in the moment. What made the scene bite was how ordinary it looked. Two people warming their hands near a fire. A drink was offered. A polite exchange that kept circling back on itself without ever quite resolving. Joss didn't lose control of the situation so much as realize she never had it. Cullum controlled the pace, the lighting, the exits, even the tone, and all he had to do was stay calm while she worked twice as hard to keep things light. By the time the moment ended, nothing explosive had happened. No alarms or anonymous henchmen were bursting through the door. Just the lingering sense that Joss had been seen more clearly than she'd intended, and that whatever Cullum was doing at Windermere, he hadn't finished yet. The moment stayed uncomfortable, the way real danger often does, waiting to see who spoke first next time. After she filled him in on her life, the scenes ended with Jocelyn saying, "What you see is what you get." He ominously responded, "Now why do I find that hard to believe?" And the silence afterward felt less like suspicion and more like recognition. Team up with Joss to save Port Charles? For a long time, Sidwell has carried himself like the worst thing in the room, the kind of villain who liked hearing his own footsteps echo. That is, until General Hospital finally tipped its hand and revealed what had been sitting just out of frame. Sidwell wasn't the boss, he was just a cog in the machine. WSB Director Ross Cullum sits above it all, watching and steering with a quiet menace. Not long after that became clear on screen, Carlo Rhoda turned up somewhere much quieter, sharing something that had nothing to do with control and everything to do with who was missing. Rhoda wrote on Instagram, "3 years ago today, you were set free. The missing never stops. Thanks, Mama, for this life." The words didn't reach for comfort or resolution. They stopped where the feeling stopped. The photos didn't feel chosen so much as gathered. In one, Rhoda's mom leaned into the frame beside him, smiling wide and unguarded, in a genuinely happy moment. In another, she sat alone in a wheelchair, cardigan buttoned, scarf draped just so, looking content. The third widened the frame further, placing her at the center of her grandchildren with a baby resting heavily in her lap and a child behind her. Rhoda's co-star and real-life wife, Nazneen Contractor, added her own comment, "Rena is the best. We miss you, Katsaxo." Their family's grief didn't need any more explaining, one fan wrote. "The world just isn't the same when your mom isn't part of it anymore. All we have is our memories." Another shared, "Sunday will be a year paralinguistic since paralinguistic my mom passed away. I can't believe how fast it went by. And yet, it seems like a lifetime without her." Several comments stayed simple. The sweetest Nana. "You look so much like her. Prayers. No matter how old we are, we will always miss our moms." Others lingered a little longer. "Living without our moms never gets easier. We just learn to live with it," one follower wrote. And another added, "The missing never stops," echoing Rhoda's own words without meaning to. General Hospital spoilers hint that Drew Kane's imposter status may finally be exposed. Will it be revealed that Willow Kane's stroke victim isn't the real deal? After Drew's release from prison, his behavior definitely headed in a terrible direction. Drew became more manipulative and hostile than he'd ever been, so fans were left scratching their heads over the sudden shift in his character. In fact, some viewers started to suspect the show had pulled off a Drew switcheroo. If a Drew imposter took over his life around that time, that would certainly provide a good explanation for why Drew started acting so out of control. Drew managed to alienate just about everyone in Port Charles, including his own wife. Willow is the one who shot Drew twice, got away with it in court, and then jabbed him with a syringe to cause a stroke. Drew ruined Willow's life, so she feels entitled to make sure he gets the treatment he deserves. Willow is doing a great job of inflicting misery and getting her payback on Drew at this point. However, GH writers could deliver a major twist that would throw everyone for a loop, including Willow. What if they finally move forward with the imposter angle so many people have speculated about? There's been additional speculation about clones being tangled up in all the Caesar Phazon final project chaos. If clones are revealed to be part of the picture sooner or later, then a Drew clone may be involved. Regardless, it's easy to imagine a story that ties Drew to some experimental lab work. The real Drew might have been held captive, but what happens if he finally breaks free and tries to reclaim his life? Real Drew might pop up and express horror once he learns what fake Drew has been doing all this time. The current Drew can't communicate due to his stroke, but the real Drew could return and have plenty to say. Willow would be stunned along with everyone else if she discovered the man who stole her away from Michael Corinthos wasn't Drew at all. Willow might be married to a Drew imposter that she tried to kill, which would be a lot for her to process. Do you still think there must be a reason for Drew's totally out-of-character behavior? How would you feel about the real Drew coming back and exposing the one in that hospital bed as an imposter? General Hospital spoilers say Willow and Drew's storyline will come with more surprises, so stick with us for updates on any wild news in the works. Be sure to stop by frequently for all the hottest General Hospital spoilers, news, and updates you need. General Hospital spoilers for the week of February 2nd suggest some twists. For one thing, Willow Tate Kane scores leverage. Jason Morgan has a risky plan. Plus, Carly Spencer's proposition is accepted. Keep reading to find out what is coming up in the ABC soap opera. Let's start off with Carly and Valentin Cassadine. Carly gets good news, so she must find out that Charlotte Cassadine is safe. Valentin wanted to search for his missing daughter, but a blizzard is about to strike, so Carly must get word that Charlotte is okay, calming Valentin's fears. Carly will have a proposition, though. Perhaps she will promise to help arrange another meeting between Charlotte and Valentin. With Charlotte thinking Nina Reeves is betraying Valentin, Carly will be quick to jump on the bashing bandwagon. Nathan West and Lulu Spencer will open up to each other during the blizzard. They could get even closer and perhaps even share a kiss. With Kirsten Storms returning as Maxie Jones soon, that could complicate a blossoming romance. General Hospital spoilers for next week reveal that Jason will promise to always be there to save Britt Westbourne. Jason better be careful with his words, though. He doesn't want to disappoint or lie to Britt again. Jason might figure out that Britt is only this rattled because she's trying to protect Rocco Falconeri. Even if Britt doesn't really admit to anything, Jason will put the puzzle pieces together. However, don't expect Carly to understand or approve of Jason's relationship. Sonny Corinthos has warned Jason about a possible betrayal. However, Jason seems willing to risk everything for the doctor. As for what else to expect in the upcoming week, Marco Rios is getting impatient to get rid of Sonny Corinthos. The lawyer could end up getting too impatient and ruin everything for Jen Sidwell. Meanwhile, Willow will score some sort of win or leverage. With her pretending to be the weeping widow in the making, she will be making some more bold moves soon. With Drew Kane having locked-in syndrome, this could get interesting. On one hand, Drew Kane deserves whatever he has coming. On the other hand, Willow just might go way too far. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most during the week of February 2nd, 2026? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember to keep watching the soap on ABC to find out what happens next. The next General Hospital spoilers video for Thursday, January 29th, 2026 shows Lulu listening as Nathan expresses concern about the storm, while Valentin questions Carly's actions and Charlotte shelters with Danny. A concerned Nathan tells Lulu, "I don't know how much longer we're gonna have power or signal." The teasers show that Nathan lets his guard down, so since the storm traps them, maybe he finally openly wonders where he was for the 7 years everyone thought he was dead. Valentin asks Carly, "Why would you risk your life for me, Carly?" Is it us, or do they suddenly have chemistry that wasn't there before? They're trapped like everyone else, so this will be a chance for them to get closer. Danny says to Charlotte, "Perfect, no one will know we're here." It looks like they're at the gatehouse, and at this stage, it's going to be difficult for her to get to Carly's to see her dad. Cody asks Molly, "What does your sister have to do with any of this?" Another couple here who have the opportunity to open up to one another, although they've already passed first base. What info about Christina could Molly have? Meanwhile, at Drew's, Tracy emphatically asks someone, "What did I do to deserve that?" Obviously, she's talking to Martin, who must have shot her one of his zingers. Jason reassures a freezing, wet Brit, "I'll always find you." The teasers also state that Jason plays hero, so it's just another stormy Thursday in Port Charles. Perhaps she fell into some freezing water, and Jason pulled her out. General Hospital started Marco off with such promise. But that sentiment didn't last long, as fans now want him away from Lucas. Lucas cannot catch a break when it comes to love. After the Brad debacle, it would have been nice to see him in a good relationship. When Marco came along, he appeared to be Lucas's happily ever after. Life sometimes has other plans. Marco is Sidwell's son, but he led Lucas to believe he wasn't like his father and had nothing to do with his business. This was a lie. He is very much involved in what his dad is up to. Now Marco has convinced his boyfriend to move into Windermere with him and dear old dad, but Lucas has no idea what is really going on in the castle. For the moment, he is blissfully unaware. But that may change at any second. They are holding Anna in the tunnels and carrying out whatever Fazan's final project is. Meanwhile, poor Lucas defends his boyfriend to anyone who listens. Fans are wondering if Marco ever really had feelings for Lucas or if their meeting was just a setup. It was a setup from the jump. When he met Lucas in Miami, he dropped his credit card, and Lucas picked it up. "Downhill ever since," exclaimed a Facebook fan. Others feel that he is just as bad, if not worse, than Sidwell, with some predicting his dad may try to take him out for asking Cullum to kill Sonny after his father explicitly told him no. "Daddy Dearest will snuff him," said one fan. Another chimed in with, "Sidwell did say as a father he loves his son, but no one crosses him."